Nykyaikaiset älypuhelimet on aika tylsiä läpysköjä. Ja mä ainakin itse ajattelen niin, että osa syy tähän tylsyyteen on se, että toki voi vaihtaa suojakuoria, mutta niitä varsinaisia puhelimen kuoria ei oikein voi vaihtaa. Seuraava esiintyjä, joka astuu tänne lavalle, on 1990-luvun puolivälissä aloittanut uransa sillä, että autotallissa on maalattu käsin kännykän kuoria. Ja me tiedetään, mitä näille autotallihepuille yleensä tapahtuu. Tästäkin kehkeytyi myöhemmin semmoinen 10 miljoonan euron liikevaihdon business. Suora kelaus, pikaleikkaus tähän päivään. Tämä tyyppi on asunut ja vaikuttanut ulkomailla, perustanut yrityksiä ympäri maailman, ollut Jenkeissä, Australiassa ja hänellä on yli 25 vuoden kokemus kansainvälisestä liiketoiminnasta, aivan mielettömästi osaamista ja ymmärrystä innovaatioista, digitaalisesta liiketoiminnasta, alustataloudesta ja tekoälystä. Erityisesti tämä hetken kuluttua lavalle astuva henkilö on keskittynyt datapilvien arkkitehtuuriin, datan omistajuuteen sekä yksityisyyden ratkaisuihin netissä. Ja tämä kattaa tietysti henkilökohtaisen tekoälyn datapilvessä. Seuraavaksi lavalle astuu co-founder ja senior advisor Valto Loikkanen Digiole Oy:stä. Aiheena datapilvien evoluutio ja mahdollisuudet tekoälyaikakaudella. Ole hyvä.
Oikein paljon kiitoksia ja kiitos kutsusta ja hienosta introsta. So I'm going to do my presentation in English just because we also have some English audience here and the behind the stream. So I'll do it all the way through that way. Yeah, here's a way smaller snapshot of the introduction. I want to, in addition to Digiole, I want to highlight Prifina, which is specifically focused on the consumer side and individuals. So I'm a co-founder in both of these, and we use a lot of same architectures and so forth. When going into the presentation, I also want to, for all of us, we are all technology people in different ways. We are also much more like organization, company roles, but put yourself in a consumer role. We are all individuals, we are all consumers first. We have our free life outside of the work, that should be important, right? So I put that lens on and I will later connect that back to also for the business side. So because I'm an entrepreneur, of course I have to do this just because it's fun to try. So I have created my own AI, so you can scan the code and you can also ask questions about this speech as I speak. This is my AI version of myself. So you can try that and curious to see how it will reply on the topic. You can do it on your mobile. So at Digiole, we focus on digital platforms and digital ecosystems. We mainly work with governments around the world, cities and countries and states to help economic development related ecosystems, mainly innovation and entrepreneurship ecosystems. But we also do digital business design for corporations and companies. And then on Prifina, we focus purely on consumer side or companies that provide solutions for consumers. So here we have the personal data clouds and then personal AI bodies. Prifina was recognized as one of the most interesting data economy solutions last year by Citra. And I'm here, this is me, 2017, talking about the same thing, that was the time when we say we're going to start doing this. So now I'm talking, several years later, a couple of million spent on architecture, and here we are. I also want to highly recognize the public sector's effort, because oftentimes they don't get enough credit on moving the markets forward. I'm 100% clear that this change that I'm talking about coming would not happen without the intervention of the public sector to put rules into place that this game has to change. So then, after that, we felt comfortable of starting to pursue, as a private small company, to pursue and start developing technology and solutions for what the GDPR regulation was actually created for. So this is kind of one slide I created 2019 to envision how the evolution of the interfaces will evolve and what are we going to see at the next level of this evolution. So let's dive in. So I like to take down terminologies and really boil them to the essentials. So we talk a lot about technology, but when we talk ICT, we have to understand that we are talking about information and communication. First and foremost, technology is merely a tool. So all this fancy stuff that we like to talk so much are merely tools, and they don't really matter. So if we remove the word information, everything else becomes irrelevant. And of course, I'm not talking about medical technology or those self-driving cars. There are other technologies out there. But when we talk about ICT, if we can't remove that word, that's the only meaningful word there is. So ultimately, since the day of ICT, it has always been saving, retrieving, and distributing information, ultimately from humans to humans. Yes, there can be many steps in the chain, but it's from humans to humans, from one individual to another, or from multiple to one, and the other way around. So I want to talk about information user experience. Because ultimately, when we talk about humans and we talk about information, the user experience is actually the final layer and the only layer that matters whether the tools are going to be used or not. And of course, I have to address the new AI and what it means from that perspective. So the AI used to be behind the user interface. It was invisible, tasteless. We couldn't really, it's the giving me better recommendations on Netflix or connecting what's in my feed, but it didn't mean anything to any one of us as a consumer. Now the genie is out of that trap. It's out there, and it's coming fast in all kinds of different use cases. So it's also not enough that we have ChatGPT that we can ask anything, because then normal individuals don't know what to ask, how to use it. So it needs to be broken down to more understandable units, and that's what the GPTs are. So the next step from that is that we have used to seeing service-side AI now, but what is forming now for real is the personal AIs. And when we talk about personal AIs, it also means that there's going to be a new type of user interface. It's no longer just humans as analog individuals using clumsy interfaces to talk with the service or an application. A lot is happening by having personal AIs, like AI Pin or the new Rabbit thing that was launched in CES beginning of the year. And you can imagine now these AIs having a conversation. And that is a new type of interface that we have to start thinking about. So what does that UX transformation look like? So this is the current, or last year or the year before, the analog individuals using clumsy interfaces. And then next, we will have AI to help us on the user interface side. And after that, we will have a bunch of personal AIs helping us on that other side, because one is not enough. When we build organizations, we want to have a lot of people. We also want to have different AIs for different purposes. And of course, why this is so fast is because this disruption is driven by consumers. Anything that is driven by consumers will happen fast. Anything that is driven by companies will happen slow. It's just a matter of fact. The B2B process is so slow, whereas consumers, we can decide. I can decide now if I use something, and I can decide now if I continue to use it or not. It's that simple. And the speed is so fast that we don't really grasp it. That's the reality. But of course, we have to come to the data. Because this is the most important thing, the information part of the technology, which translates to data when we broke it down to smaller units. The fact is that there is no AI without data. Also, if there's poor data, there's poor AI. So the only way we can make this work for us as consumers is that we need to put the contextual self into the picture for any of the interaction to make any sense. That's why in modern applications that we call today, we have simple forms to ask customer information every time you do something, because the service can't work without knowing you. So this is both when I want to query something about my own data, or whether I want to query public data where I need to use context to make it meaningful for me and not just a generic answer. So the personal data dilemma that we have and that we all experience every day as consumer individuals is this. Everyone else keeping our data. This got broken when the internet was introduced and the platform economy took hold. This is the value that we get is tiny bit of what can be done with our data, and at the same time it's not in our control. So we want to flip that. That's what needs to happen. This is what citizens want. This is what the government is putting companies to do with GDPR and beyond. So our personal data is really scattered across, so it's like we are atoms there online. We are not our whole selves online. So out of our control, the more of our data exists, we have more exposure to security and privacy issues. And this is the key point. I'm not going to talk about cybersecurity and other things more than just this main point, because this is so significant that the more our data is scattered, the more vulnerabilities exist. The less it's there, the less exist. And we have to understand what this means for governments, for cities, for companies, and for us individuals. We all talk about the AI taking over the world, but it comes back to this. If we can't control our own data, basically we cannot in any way control the AI. Do we want others to control our data and they control our AI behavior for us, regardless of what we are, meaning entities or individuals? So let's look at the data architecture. So the basics of the GDPR and also my data, that is an excellent thing. Born from Finland, again funded by government, thank you. And basically is the data sharing and portability aspect. But as you can imagine, this doesn't reduce our footprint. It just increases it, and it just accelerates more and more data to exist about us online. The portability itself is not the solution. Also, it doesn't technically scale that well. So the more we want to enable sharing, the more complexity comes every time we add a single node into the mix, meaning single application to be shared. And you can understand none of us as consumers can handle this. We can't be knowing, specifically thinking of these criminal behaviors, and we would have more and more requests coming for our data from different sources that we should then give consent to. Yes, it's okay, it's okay. So the only sensible solution is to aggregate the data on user side where also the AI sits and your AI assistant. So you need to have it on the user side, and you need to be able to run the applications inside your cloud. It cannot be simply data storage. It has to be smarter and more capable than that. So that's the data cloud that I'm talking. And of course, data cloud is a new term, intentionally so that we want to bring it beyond just clouds technologies in general and consumerize that terminology. In your own data cloud, it's an isolated unit. It's not a shared database at any level. So think of it like your smartphone, but on the cloud. You can feed data to it, you can use your data. Most importantly, you own the data. You can have it there in a way that it doesn't exist anywhere else, which is impossible in the modern days otherwise. So let's break this into more detail. So we have this type of setup. You have the data cloud in the center. You have then capability of using private applications or external applications on top of that. And in addition, you can bring physical world into it by introducing sensors in different products and use Bluetooth to connect that into your device. So this is end-to-end private by default personal data infrastructure. And all of this is affordable today. So if it can be done at individual basis using infrastructure as a code, obviously it can be done for companies, small companies, and so forth. This is what Prifina does. So the goal for us should be to have comprehensive data covering every part of our individuals' lives in one place. Now you can protect it. When it's fragmented, how can you even try to protect it all wherever it exists? It becomes our digital selves. And the biggest benefit is really minimize our online data footprint gradually, step by step, less outside, more inside, less outside, more inside. And it doesn't stop there. The same logic would apply to things that we own, other things that are valuable and important to us. These are entities that should have their own clouds as well. And of course, it scales all the way to bigger organizations, but in Finland, 96% or something is small companies, less than 10 people. So we talk about always the corporations and things, but by maturity, consumers and small companies globally is volume-wise way more important. We can put it our pets. There are colors you can put like a cat or dog and all kinds of devices. You can have data cloud for your pets. It's that affordable. Everything in our life can now have a data cloud. So how do we combine that with the most user-centric interface? So now we come back to the AI. With AI, any data can come to life as a digital persona. You can simply talk to your data. I can ask from my aura, how did I sleep last night? And it can reply me even as a voice. You slept this many hours, your readiness score is this, and so forth. I don't need an interface other than that. I just ask and it replies. And by default, it talks any language. So it talks any language, human language, but it also talks machine language. So it doesn't need translator, and you don't need to have content in a specific language to use another language on top of that. And then obviously we can make them as real-looking personas. We have the fake video coming from the team here. But all these technologies already exist. You can make them fun. You can use any type of persona that you like to have as your AI, how it communicates with you. And as we move forward, they become part of our physical life, first in virtual sense, but think of knowing that guy, that person, and it then becoming a physical robot. It's much nicer gateway to physical robots, knowing who's going to be there, than some clumsy machine that you unbox and then you try to figure out who's this thing. Also, this was previously only available to managers and rich people, those who can go to designer and, hey, can you make me a logo? Now anyone can do it. We can all be managers of our own AI assistants that know us and do things for us, and nobody even knows what they are doing for us. So this is now available for everyone. AI is as digital personas, so they're still just applications. That's the easiest way to think about it. They have a role in your life, like applications have a role in your life. They work with certain knowledge that you give them to have, and then you give them access and capabilities to use tools on your behalf. And then you want to control their access rights, what information they can access, and what tools they can use on your behalf. You look at those and you think those are like employees in any organization. So there's not much difference in that. The more you think them as humans, the easier it is to think UX, because we all know how to interact with each other. Whether we like it or not, we know how to do it. So at the end of the day, it's still just software. However magical it may be, it's still just software where the information matters, the data matters. So basically, because of the interfaces and how we interact with humans today with Slacks and SMS and so forth, you don't even recognize anymore if it's a robot there. That's why, again, public organizations, regulators you need to put a stamp on it. If you are interacting with AI, you need to inform the user of that. So, and that's how it starts to blend into our lives. But also, a nice side effect is that these same interfaces can also act as APIs. So if we can make humans talk to each other, the same interface can be used for computers to talk to each other. So now you can have a car that can talk to other cars. They already do, like Teslas, but you can also, without designing an interface, they can use the interface that they interact with humans with each other. So that they can ask instructions of how do I get from here to there, if it makes any sense, from another car. But the key here is that I intentionally wanted to use this personal perspective because we are all individuals. We all want our data to be kept safe, and we all want the power of AI. But the same logic applies to everything, from individual ultimately to the ecosystem level. Anything you put data in, and an AI can become a conversational unit, and they can talk with each other or with yourself. And every application in the world, in all industries, in all countries, we're going to go through this change. It's already happening. The pace is fast. The question is just, okay, so what are we going to do? This is one of the most recent things, and this will definitely impact workers. No question about it. Here's the benefits that they are getting. This is not something that the governments and societies are prepared, because we work on one Digiole company to try to help create jobs. And at the same time, we know the technology is fast moving us to the point where a lot of those jobs that people don't really like to do usually is going to get replaced. But the speed is so fast and the profits are so big that it will obviously accelerate even way more than it is now. And here's more the individual side. So I'm not an influencer, but I did the same thing. I'm not charging anything for those questions that you can ask from my AI. So basically, everything is changing, but at the same time, nothing is changing. You know, we still gather around with our friends, we take sauna. In the Christmas time, we like to pull the family together, we want to play board games, even if we have all the magical technology around us. Why don't we talk to AI in the Christmas, right? So technology has always been there, and you know, there has been all those transitional changes with pictures, movies, deepfakes. None of these are really new. We just tag along. But there are fundamentals that don't change. So humans are still humans, machines are still machines. But now we can make the machines more human, and we don't need to use those ugly user interfaces. I've been designing them for 25 years, and I hate them because it's so hard to make them good. So it's all about information and communication technology. So what to do? Where to start? So I want to point this out, that this is so affordable that it's ridiculous when we talk with our customers, because they are used to talking big budgets, and we have hard time to bundle in something that is so affordable. This is Prifina. The contrast is not good, but basically with Prifina, you can have your own AI assistants, and you can provide it knowledge that you want, and it's knowledge that you put in there, and then it uses that knowledge to interact with you. You can put your recipe books there, you can put your speeches there, you can put whatever you want to put there, and you can just use that as your assistant going forward. Or you can install assistants built by others. In Prifina, we call them AI buddies. Here's one influencer that we have put all the training materials into an AI application to educate in a scalable manner for all the followers of this person. Here's what we are doing with Hirelink. This year, we were doing the ski instructors at the Alps with the sensorized ski boots, collecting data, and then making that ski coach to know how you ski based on your ski boots data, and all of that happens privately inside the user's own cloud. So the Hirelink doesn't get any data. The ski coach doesn't need any data from outside. It just needs the instructions how to work with the data that it has. You can scan that code to get your own AI buddies going. There's a wait list because we need to gradually scale this out, but this is for you as consumers. Go check it out, try it out, play around, and see where the future goes. This is from the Digiole side. If you're a company and you want to adopt these things into your business, we're happy to help you. Whether it's using private clouds on your consumer side, or whether that's B2B business models that you're working, or if you want to make the ecosystem talk to you. It would be great to get, the green tech ecosystem to tell everyone constantly, how much the temperature is rising. So if you want to ask why that is, it should have that knowledge, so people can be more educated of the global warming thing also. So we can put Mother Nature to talk to us. Who's going to do that? I don't know, but we're happy to help if you do. So scan the code, talk to me. In real person, I'll be here on the break. Otherwise, you can chat with me with my AI. I have no idea how well it's going to do, but I'll give it a try. So there we go. Thank you.
Ja nyt on mahdollisuus myös lähettää tälleen vähän niin kuin old schoolisti kysymyksiä Valtolle, eli se chatti siellä meidän striimi-ikkunassa on sitä varten, että voi pistää kysymyksiä tulemaan. Mä voisin oikeastaan yhden nopeasti kysyä sulta sen, että tässä tietysti tämä premissi oli lähtökohtaisesti pilvi, mutta mikä sun ajatus on tämmöisistä henkilökohtaisesti assistenteista, jotka potentiaalisesti toimii käyttäjän laitteissa, koska tämähän on myös yksi suunta, mitä jotkut yritykset ajaa, ja tässä erityisesti se ensisijainen ajatus tai ainakin se markkinointiviesti on se yksityisyys.
Joo, mä sanoisin just sen takia, mä käytin tuossa esimerkkiä, että ajatelkaa sitä datapilveä, että se on sun laite, mutta pilvessä, että se ei tarvitse sitä fyysistä olomuotoa. Se on sun, sä omistat sen, sä maksat siitä vuokraa. Se on kaikki sun, se ei ole meidän. Meillä ei ole sinne mitään pääsyä. Me vaan päivitetään sinne käyttöjärjestelmää ja se on sun setappi siinä, missä sun puhelinkin on, mutta sillä ei ole fyysistä olomuotoa. Eli siinä mielessä me ollaan all up kaikki noihin malleihin. Meillä on myös niinku privacy-mallit, puhelimeen ja niin edespäin. Mutta se ongelma siinä on se, että kun sä hukkaat sun puhelimen, niin sinne meni kaikki. Eli me ei päästä eroon siitä, että näitä putoaa vessanpönttöön ja muuta.
Mikä sun ajatus, jos sä mietit lähitulevaisuutta, on siitä, että minkälaiselta näyttää tämä henkilökohtaisten assistenttien roadmappi?
Mä sanoisin, että se näyttää siltä, miltä kuluttajat keksii niille käyttöä, koska sitä mukaan, kun meiltä niitä use caseja kysytään, niin me niitä niin kuin autetaan luomaan. Joko niin, että me tehdään työkaluja, että sä voit luoda itse itsellesi sellaisen, tai sitten me lähestytään yrityksiä, joilla on niin kuin kiinnostusta ja kyvykkyyttä luoda se käyttäjille. Eli kumpaakin kautta tullaan. Et meillä on niin kuin tämmöiset app-marketit ja kaikki, niin kuin, että me ei tehdä niitä, vaan me tehdään sitä infraa, millä sitä pystyy pyörittämään.
Ja sitten vielä semmoinen henkilökohtainen kysymys, että kuinka montaa henkilökohtaista data-assistenttia sä tällä hetkellä käytät?
Mä käytän tällä hetkellä noin 7. Se on myös joku tutkinut joskus, että sen verran sä pystyt niinku olla alaisi yhtä aikaa. Sitten tarvitaan niinku submanagement sen jälkeen.
Kiitos esityksestä.
Kiitos.
Thank you.